This episode of Ghoulish is brought to you by the devil. He knows what's good for you. Hello, my name is Max Booth, a host, and you are listening to a podcast that I host with a microphone. It's called Ghoulish, and I am legally obligated to say it that way. On today's episode of the podcast I just named, I am talking to someone named Charles Bernard, who wrote a book called A Baptism for the Dead, available right now. You can go buy it at the places you buy books. I am talking to the author about a topic many of you will like, some of you will not. And that topic is Satanism. What is it? Why? Who? And when? I get down to all of these questions in my conversation about Satanism, which just so happens to be what is sponsored this episode. Does that mean Ghoulish is now sponsored content? Yes. Thank you. The Satan. The Satan? No. The devil. Or is it Satan? Why isn't it the Satan? Maybe we answer that question in the following conversation. I don't recall. It's been 2 months since we talked. I'm just that backlogged. Much like the devil. Alright, so you and I have never met or talked. We might have met, actually, right? Did we meet at a convention? I think maybe we might have.
I was going to meet you, actually, is what happened. I was planning on coming to Austin for my very first Killer Con when the Rona broke out. So had to cancel that bad boy and do the virtual thing instead. So.
Okay, that's right. Okay, yeah. My memory is not really good. But our mutual friend, John, he set this episode up. He set this podcast up. He DM'd me and said, "Hey, Max, you want to do an episode about Satanism with a Satanist?" And I said, "Yup, I sure do."
A wise decision, always a wise decision. Yeah, I'm very flattered to be here, and yeah, John, great guy. He actually also got me on Jay Wilburn's podcast to talk about the devil and all that. So that was a fun time, and Jay and I had a good time on that one.
Did you? Because I'm thinking about it now. Jay is really hardcore Christian, I think. So how did that go?
Yeah, actually, it went really well. We had a civilized conversation. We found some common ground. We found some places where we differed, obviously, but it was a respectful and great conversation. And Jay's a great guy, and his Matters of Faith podcast, while I'm obviously not a Christian, it's got some discussions with people of varying flavors of religious or not religious, and yeah, it's a pretty cool place.
I was on that episode. I was on, not that episode, but I was on this podcast, and I don't think we talked about religion at all. I don't know what we talked about, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's a man of many interests, and he's also a transplant recipient, where I am a transplant hopeful. So yeah, we have some common ground there as well, which was interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So I decided 5 minutes before doing calling you on Skype that
Mm.
I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to like deep subjects like this. I don't know what to ask you, so I decided to go to my trusty sidekick Yahoo Answers.
Oh, good.
Type in Satanism, and I'm going to ask you questions that I find on Yahoo Answers about
Okay.
Satanism.
All
Okay,
right. Hit me.
okay. Question one: what is Satanism, please?
Satanism is first of all, before I start, I should say I'm not speaking on behalf of any organization, only my personal beliefs. I am a member of the Satanic Temple, and that's the flavor of Satanist that I am. But I don't speak on their behalf. I'm not a spokesperson or a spokesdemon. So,
So,
but
okay, so no
yeah.
satanic mascot.
Yeah, no, we've got a very good PR department, and they're very good at their jobs. But speaking personally, Satanism is a religion. It is a non-theistic religion, of which there are a couple. Buddhism is sometimes considered a non-theistic religion as well. And it's a moral philosophy that emphasizes Satan as a symbol, a personal symbol of rebellion against tyranny, because we see Satan as the ultimate rebel against the ultimate tyrant, and that's what we're into. So. Over the years, it's kind of evolved from its roots with Anton LaVey and the Church of Satan into a more, let's call it, compassionate and less socially Darwinistic form than it used to be. So these days you'll see Satanists doing Adopt a Highway or like charity programs to collect women's hygiene products for shelters, which my own chapter here in Utah has done. Or you'll see us raise money for various things, and you'll also see us fight for reproductive freedom, and to get religious monument displays opened up to all religions and stuff like that. So yeah, we're your friendly, happy, not devil worshiping local Satanists. We're great.
So something you just said brings up a different question on this Yahoo Answers. What is the
Okay.
difference between the two Satanisms?
Okay. That one's actually pretty easy. Church of Satan is the Anton LaVey, or the people who've inherited Anton LaVey's legacy. He wrote the Satanic Bible, and he was a free thinker, and I guess you could call him a radical in the mid '60s, and came up with this idea that this whole concept of Satan has things backwards, that we should be focusing on making ourselves better, and not following along like good little sheep. And but the Church of Satan is exclusive. They are kind of an elitist organization. They're not big fans of equality. They tend to be ruthless capitalists, and whereas we TST people tend to be more into social justice. And yeah, so I guess you could call the kind that I'm part of a reform movement in Satanism, kind of.
Hmm. That's pretty
So
cool. Yeah,
yeah, thank you. Yeah,
yeah.
it's fun.
Uh,
Something to do with my spare time.
I am thinking still about the adopt a highway thing you said, and now I'm thinking
Yeah.
like how many like all the cool Christians know they might be driving on satanic highways.
Well, if you're on highway or Route 666, I mean it's pretty obvious. But yeah, other than that,
I thought it was Route 999, but it was upside down.
they had one nail come loose on the sign and just flipped, and that's how the horror movie started.
That is definitely a spooky movie that's going to happen
Hmm.
eventually. Oh my god, I didn't know this was a satanic highway. Uh,
Exactly. The highway to hell, if you will.
oh my, don't, no puns on this podcast.
Okay. Okay. Square deal. Square deal.
Is now this question isn't on Yahoo Answers, but this is a Max Booth question. Do Satanists love puns?
You know, just speaking for my little group locally, there's a couple of us who are fond of wordplay, let's say. But Yeah, in general, we like to be a little cheeky with our language. You know.
Now I'm imagining the trope of, oh no, my daughter might be dating a Satanist. They have the list. He's listening to rock and roll. He has black clothes on and he keeps saying puns.
And just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, he pulled out the rubber chicken.
That would be an amazing
Yeah.
symptom. Okay, this is
Yes.
a new Yahoo Answers question.
Okay.
Is Satanism justified?
Yeah, I absolutely think so. Yeah. We often, I don't know if we like to say, I like to say that we didn't strike first, as it were. In some ways, Satanism is a response to sort of theocratic movements in government and society. So, especially where I live, which is the great state of Utah, I would say Satanism is very justified. We have a pretty strong religious, hierarchy here that kind of has a lockdown on how things work. I hear that you guys in Texas might have something similar.
Oh, in Texas? No, it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
state of atheists.
Yes, truly the godless state,
It
Texas, the
that's
great
what they
godless
always
state.
say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a feeling this one's gonna have a simple no response.
Okay.
Wicca equaled Satanism? Question mark.
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no.
uh,
I know and like many Wiccans, and I respect the hell out of it. But no, we're not Wiccans.
okay. Crossing that one off. Okay. Why should I join Satanism? Question mark. That's just one of the Yahoo Answer questions.
Ooh, I got a good simple answer to this one too, and I would say that's up to you. We're not an evangelical religion. We're not looking for converts. So if I am asked questions about Satanism, which I often am, it's I'll respond, and if people are curious about it, I'm happy to provide information. But we're not. Yeah, if you are interested in Satanism and want to learn more about it, I would encourage you to. And if your path leads you there, a lot of us say like we've always kind of been Satanists. We just didn't have a term for it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
but
So, well, branching off from that question, this isn't a jokey question. How did you get involved? Tell me about your growing up experience. Like, how did you get into Satanism?
oh man. So I grew up Catholic. I was like a very devout little Catholic when I was a younger man. I was an altar boy. I was baptized and confirmed. But I sort of wandered into the whole atheist thing around age like 12 or 13. And then when I was just a freshman in college, lo those many years ago, I basically ran into a kind of a pack of Satanists at my college and found their whole take on things fascinating. And they were Church of Satan Satanists, so they were a little more on the rough and rugged side than the community that I'm part of. But I found the like philosophical cohesion of their beliefs really appealing, and they were highly critical of kind of right wing religious culture, which I also am. And I got to know these guys. I got to know what they were into, and sort of followed my own path through the occult and various I guess you'd call them esoteric communities until I first heard of the Satanic Temple, which was back, around the time they were first kicking off in 2014, 2015. And I was so happy because I'd been waiting a long time, as many of us had, for a non Church of Satan satanic church that would allow us to have kind of community and the fun get together with your friends aspect of a church, but also have the philosophy of Satanism, because the Church of Satan did not they're not exactly blowing the doors off and opening franchises coast to coast. I mean, they had like three grottos total, one in San Francisco, one in I think New York, and another one that's anyway. Satanic Temple, though, we've got chapters everywhere, and it was just great to be able to go like to a barbecue with Satanists, or have like a satanic movie night, or all that kind of stuff. It was nice, and since then I've just become a very active member of that community. So
How did your family respond to that like news?
Interestingly, I'm in the vast minority, in that my parents are actually cool as hell. They may have started out Catholic at one point, but they would both, I think, identify as atheists these days. And my mom is actually like a big booster of the Satanic Temple. She thinks it's awesome. So yeah, it's mom approved in my case. I don't get that cool rebel cred for pissing off my parents.
Ah, I think
uh,
that's awesome. I'm glad. Yeah, it's too many times you hear about like just complete like disapproval about
yeah,
something like this, and that's awesome.
yeah, yeah. I am lucky. I mean, it's a very common story, especially in my community. It tends to be people who were raised Mormon and became atheists and then Satanists, and their families usually really don't want to have much to do with them, which is tragic, like you said.
That I guess that kind of leads into a new Yahoo Answers question.
Okay.
Why is Satanism so looked down upon?
Uh, because it's kind of it started out in the minds of Christians as a boogeyman type thing. If you go back to as far as like the Salem witch trials or the Inquisition, or the Middle Ages, people were being accused of Satanism and devil worship and yada yada. And in almost every case, they were not actually having anything to do with the devil. They just happened to think that the Earth revolves around the sun. And so we claimed the mantle of Satanist, but it started out as a boogeyman term. So I'm not surprised that some people are still a little put off by it.
Yeah, I mean, just look back at like how fucking crazy people reacted during the Satanic Panic times.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we did an episode on that on Ghoulish not too long ago. Go check it
Oh,
out, folks
I
listening.
absolutely will,
Yeah,
because I love that shit. That's yeah, the Satanic Panic. I lived through it, and I remember when Dungeons and Dragons was gonna take your soul and all that. So
did they?
Uh, actually, the little tiny miniature pieces did squeal when I put them in a fire, because they were filled with human souls. But burning
Excellent.
soul smells less bad than burning plastic, so it was a net plus.
So the next questions, pretty much the rest of these questions, are fucking insane. So most of the questions I had to kind of like bounce around is just a
Right,
different variation of someone saying, "What is Satanism?" So,
right, right, right.
but I've collected some that are just nuts. Okay. Okay, stick with me on this. Is it true that Satanism is highly sophisticated, advanced, and faster than NASA, science, and technology?
Absolutely. Our secret space program is like fucking unbelievable. We already
What's
have
the
we
mission of?
we're gonna put a man on the sun.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Any
thank you.
like what? How far have you gone? Like, have you like done it yet?
That's classified, I'm afraid,
Oh,
Max.
my
I'll
bad.
have to brief you in later.
Okay, okay, good enough. Okay, so science fields, like at schools, is that a grounds for Satanism?
Absolutely, yes. We're behind
Excellent.
that as well. Yeah.
Speaking of schools, okay, fuck.
Mm.
If religion is not to be taught in schools, then why is evolution, a form of Satanism, taught?
Okay. Um, I love that the idea that evolution is a form of Satanism. Like, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, why isn't there a White History Month? You got me there.
Now you're asking the right questions. How do I convert my children to Satanism?
I'd start with He-Man and work your way up from there to the Malleus Maleficarum, and from there, smooth sailing.
All right. What does Satanism teach about pleasures of the flesh?
That they're awesome. That's legit. Yeah, we do teach that they're awesome
Do you
with
want to
consenting adults.
expand?
Oh, just that we're very into living life to the fullest. As long as everybody's a consenting adult, we like having a good time. There are sober Satanists. There are Satanists who are, you know, into whatever. We don't frown on so-called pleasures of the flesh. We think life is here to be lived.
Yeah. I bet you guys love Clive Balcall.
He is popular. At least with me, he is. Yeah.
Good. He's a good dude. Okay. I don't know what this is referring to, so I'm just gonna ask it. Satanism in hospitals? Is that true? Question mark.
I don't know, but I was in the hospital recently.
Oh my god!
So I suppose that they got me. They got me there. I infiltrated a hospital with my sick ass body.
You got fucking busted, man.
Oh
By
shit!
Yahoo.
They're on to me.
Okay. This is the last one I have that I collected. Then we can move on to some more or less standard questions.
All right.
I'm just gonna read what it says. So, last night, for some reason, I had a dream of me inside a satanic church, just watching what they do. I don't know if that's bad. Question mark.
I think that you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and let this guy off the hook for his dream. He happened to peer in at what we were doing. We were okay with it. We let him have a little peek, but he's off the hook. It was just a
Oh,
dream,
so
dude.
you think he
Yeah.
did some astral projecting?
Yeah, I prefer to call it remote viewing, thank you, but yes.
Oh, is that a Zoom type of phrasing?
That's CIA MK Ultra phrasing.
Ah, now we're talking. Is that
Yeah,
also some satanic shit going on? I don't know. Will they somehow related to what the CIA was up to?
I have heard lately that Lady Gaga is apparently both Illuminati and a Satanist, according to the internet. So I think there might be like a crossover project in the works, and that's probably about all I can say. Yeah, or the CIA is just going to take me out.
I will tweet at Lady Gaga and ask if that's true. I will get to the bottom of this.
That's a good idea.
So, something else that John mentioned we could possibly talk about, and I think this is a good idea, is how like Satanism is viewed in movies. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, how bad do they usually get it, and what are some examples of them getting it right?
That's a very good question, and I do rant about this quite a bit at the Madness Heart Press blog on occasion. Um, I it's ridiculous. Like Satanism is still used as a boogeyman in a lot of movies, and that would be fine if it were kind of even like the vaguest approximation of what Satanism is actually about. But they tend to portray Satanism equals devil worship, which is an unfortunate meme that is out there and is quite understandable. But I'll give you an example of how not to do a movie with Satanism in it. Is so Grady Hendrix, who I love, like I love his writing. I'm a fan. But he did this movie Satanic Panic recently, and that played to all of the like QAnon tropes of Satanists as sacrificing babies, as actually rich and elite, as people who wear red and chant a lot and try to summon the devil. And it felt kind of like beneath him. I don't know. Like I said, I love Grady Hendrix usually, but yeah, not my favorite. Now, on the other hand, the movie The Witch is a favorite of many Satanists because it focuses on Puritanism and the Christian obsession with the idea of witchcraft and the phenomena of witch hunts, and also has a guest appearance by a big black goat and a really cool incarnation of Satan with a whispery voice.
I
So yeah,
I love that movie. My favorite fact about the witch is evidently the goat's tail kept wagging so much, like it was so happy to be on in the movie. They had to go in with like CGI and like make the goat's tail look like it wasn't moving because it just kept wagging. It was so happy to be
yeah.
around. That is the
Goats are,
cutest thing ever.
they're terrible actors. They're terrible liars. They just can't help but express joy. I love goats, and Black Phillip was a cute fella. So I'm going to share that anecdote with everybody I know.
Do you, if you, I'm imagining like all of you guys talk about this movie a lot now, and now I'm wondering like, is there like a debate of how to pronounce it? Like, do some people go like, oh, actually, it's called the Vavitch?
No, but I can certainly introduce that schism if you like.
I would like nothing more. Thank you.
Okay, all right.
All right. I interrupted you. What else? Did you have anything else to say about movies and Satanism?
Yeah. So Rob Zombie has a complicated relationship with Satanism in his movies. He tends to portray people who are not representatives of the type of Satanism that I practice, but it's slightly closer to the kind of old school sinister path Satanism, black metal type stuff. And that is, visually very interesting and thematically very interesting. And I dearly love Rob Zombie, but I do kind of wish he'd leave the devil alone. I mean, what did the devil ever do to Rob Zombie?
What's that? What's that quote? I am the devil, and I've come here to do the
The devil's
devil's
work.
will. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's not what Satan usually says.
that's actually a quote from a serial killer. I'm trying to remember who it is who famously said that. I think it
Was
might have
that
been
Ted
Richard
Cruz?
Ramirez.
Oh.
Yes, yeah, it was Ted Cruz. It's floor of the Senate, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, he was doing some filibuster, and that's how he began it.
followed it up with "My dad killed JFK."
I wish that was true.
Yeah, yeah.
I wish. Is there a lot of like conspiracy theory stuff in the Satanism? Because I think
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of religions kind of go into that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So I this is actually a corner of the world of Satanism that I have explored quite thoroughly because I'm fascinated by this kind of stuff, and it's, interests of mine that overlap. But yeah, so I did like a deep dive into QAnon and all that stuff, and the right wing, the Illuminati and cabal and blah 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 blah. And yeah, it's ridiculous. Satanism is usually like about step 4 in somebody's descent when they're talking conspiracy theory stuff. Like they'll start out kind of general with like, the CIA does some fucked up shit, and you're like, well, yeah, they do. That's legit. And then step 2 is something like, when they faked the moon landing. Excuse me. And then step 3 will be something like, the Illuminati control the Federal Reserve. And then about step 4, you get to Satanism. So, Alex Jones likes to yell about the devil, for example. So,
Yes, he does. And I guess it just goes back to this fucking same ignorance from decades ago of how like, oh, Satanism is the absolute worst thing someone could practice.
yep. More than just decades ago. It's been going on for these many, probably, 15, 1600 years. It's super good fun.
I wasn't alive back then, so I have no
Oh,
concept
yeah.
of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Tell me about this new book.
Oh, yeah, I wrote a book. Thanks. It's called A Baptism for the Dead. It's available now from Madness Heart Press or at Amazon on your Kindle or in physical form. It is my first novel. I've written many a short story and been published in many an anthology and magazine, but this is my first crack at a novel, and it was not what I expected to write, but it's kind of historical horror set in the 19th century Mountain West, so like the Utah pioneer days. and it's got some good splattery gore in it, along with your history and Old West. So it's good fun. You should pick it up.
So does it also like embrace like satanic themes and ideas?
I would call it more, yes, in a word, like I would say yes, it does in some ways, and I would also say that it kind of plays off of what I guess I'd call esoteric Mormonism. So, like the Mormonism that people don't usually hear about or learn about, the kind of weird, deep Mormon theology. I like to I play with that in this book a little bit, so
Okay,
it's good fun. Yeah.
cool. I'm excited to read it. I didn't have time like this month at all. I don't think anyone did. You didn't. You were in the hospital, but you managed to read a book. So
I sure
what was my
did. It
issue?
was I was in the hospital and I happened to read your book, Max. I was absolutely blown away and fucking love it. And I wanted to give you my compliments on we need to do something because in a hospital bed is basically the perfect way to read it.
Yeah, unless like you locked yourself into a bathroom, maybe.
True,
What would
true,
be the
true.
perfect way to read your book?
Oh, actually, I have the perfect answer for this. So my cousin bought a copy and then went on a fishing/camping trip and read it in his tent at night in the woods
Oh
near a
no.
stream. And I think that yeah, I think that that's probably the prime environment for it is somewhere with some nice nature around you and some trees that things can hide amongst.
Great. Yeah, that sounds pretty pleasant to be honest. After being cooped up in a house so long.
Oh yeah, for real.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, I'm sure you're ready to do things after being cooped up in a hospital. How long were you in it?
I was in there for about 5, 6 days, and yeah, it was good fun. Yeah, I have enough health issues that me and the hospital are not infrequent friends right about now. So yeah,
So, besides the hospital, where else can folks find you, specifically online?
I think that your best bet is going to be charlesrbernard.com, where you can find links to my anthologies that have my stories in them, my novel, etc. And also, I tweet a bunch at crbernard on Twitter is a good place to find me too.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me now. I must have closed out. But you have a different blog as well, right? Like a
Correct.
salt city.
Yes,
I don't
yes.
know the name now. I don't have it in front of me.
You were so close. It's Salt City Center, and if you want to read that, you go to saltcitycenter.blogspot.com, and that's where I put all my non-horror related blogging. And then I also blog at Madness Heart Press, madnessheart.press. Every Tuesday I post there, usually about horror culture or whatever's circling around my brain. I've been talking about hell a lot recently, so if you're curious about that, go to Madness Heart, read it there.
All right, cool. I'm trying to find one last Yahoo question to ask you to close this out, but I'm not
The
having a
kicker.
lot of luck. Hold on, I'm going like to page 50 and see what comes up. Yeah, a lot of it is just like, what is Satanism? Is Satanism a joke? No, no, it's not.
How is Babby formed?
Why do
Yeah.
white people believe in Satanism?
That is that is a good one. I'll give him that. Okay. Yeah, like it is often viewed as kind of a white people thing, but there's actually a group called the Satanists of Color Coalition that I advise you to check out online that has some cool people in it who would be more than happy to talk about that issue. Yeah.
All right, cool. That seems like a good way to end this episode. Thank you for doing this. I had fun. I think everybody learned a lot. Thank you, Yahoo Answers. And that was Charles Burnham talking about Satanism. Go buy his book. a baptism, fill the dead. And go buy books that we've published through perpetualpublishing.com. Go buy The Flying Nun by Cody Goodfellow. Go buy Jurassic Christ by Michael Allen Rose. Go buy Scanlines by Todd Keesley. Go buy, Go buy a health insurance plan. The time is coming to an end. Goodbye.
Live spooky, die spooky.